guys, my name is Chelsea and I blog over at makingmanzanita.com, and I'm really excited to be with you at Hometalk today. We're going to be making a really fun farmhouse style sign that can go on your wall using all reclaimed materials. So you could pretty much make this for free if you have these materials laying around. So as you can see in the headline, we're going to be working with a pallet today. So we've already taken the pallet apart, as you can see, and these are the pieces that we took from it. They are 19.5 inches wide, so we just cut the pallet right in half, and we're using 3 different planks. So that's what we're going to be using. So I'm going to quickly put this sign together, and then we're going to work on the design, which is a really fun design. So as I get going on this sign, I want you guys to let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from, so where you're watching from, and let us know what the weather's like where you are. We are filming this in Central Oregon today, and the weather's actually pretty nice. We spent the day at the pumpkin patch today with our family, and we had a great day. So we had some nice sunny weather. All right, so as you can see, I flipped the boards over, and these are just 2 other pieces of reclaimed wood we had laying around in our garage, and I'm just going to use these to hold it together. So if you don't have a nail gun, which is what I'm going to be using, you could use a hammer and nails for this. So if you don't have this tool, you'd be okay with a hammer and nails. So just kind of make sure the planks are together. Okay, and I'm going to do the other corner down here. Oh. All right.
While you're doing that, looks like Australia, Alabama, Missouri, and Virginia. A lot of people tuning in from everywhere.
Yeah, keep letting us know where you're tuning in from. I love reading these comments after the video.
A whole heck of a lot of rain and then sun in California.
Yeah, it has been crazy weather down in there in California. This last couple of weeks, they've been 100 degrees. It's crazy. All right, so if you're just tuning in, we're making a farmhouse style sign, and you haven't missed much. All I did so far is put the sign together. So this is pallet wood that we're using. We took apart a pallet, and this one's pretty old. As you can see, it's got some really fun reclaimed, like the color I love on it. It's like a gray. So all I did to the back was put in some pieces to hold the sign together. It's nice and sturdy now, and we're gonna work on the front design now. So the really fun part about this sign is we are actually using this is a lug wrench, and you don't really see these around. They're not used very often, I don't think, as a tool, but I see them a lot at like thrift stores. We go to one called Restore where we are. So that's where I've picked these up. It was a couple bucks, but you may have an old one laying around. So what I've already done before the video is I've marked the middle. So I measured it, and you can see there's just a little pencil X right there, so I know where this is going. And we're going to be using a stencil to do the painting on the sign. So I've already made the stencil just so we can get the video going a little quicker today. But I'm just going to quickly recap how I make my stencils. Let me unplug this here. So this is the machine that I use to make stencils. Every time I feature it in a Hometalk video, you guys love it and have lots of questions. So it's a silhouette cameo. It cuts different designs. You can cut paper and all sorts of stuff. This one hooks up to my computer, and that's where I do my design. When I'm designing the stencil, I actually cut it out on, this is just an example of it. This is adhesive shelf liner. I get it at the Dollar Tree, so it's really inexpensive, and it's just like sticker, like contact paper. So it's pretty thin, and the cut settings that I use on the Cameo, I just use the vinyl cut settings, and it works great. So super inexpensive way to make stencils, and you can make really professional looking signs. So I've already cut out our stencil today, and we're actually going to be doing kind of a, I don't even know, like a negative. I'm going to put down the letters, and we're going to paint over them. So most of the sign is going to end up being white, and just what's left over is not going to be painted. So, and then I'll show you kind of the other way. So I've already used the outside of the letters for the stencil on my other sign. So I'm making 2 signs out of this one stencil. So I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your stencils. So the letters the word we're going to put on our sign is farm, because it's for farmhouse look, farmhouse style. I love the fixer-upper look. So I would love to know in the comments though what you guys would put on your sign. So it would have to be a 4-letter word, because we've got 4 spots here. So let me know in the comments what you guys would do for your sign. Maybe your last name is 4 letters. That would be really fun.
What size nails did you use to put the back pieces on?
So in our brad nailer, which is what I was using, and that's a Porter cable brand that we had, there is 1.5 inch nails in there. Okay, so I've got my A up here. This by eye, because I can kind of see where the middle of this is, and I'm kind of lining up the top of the letters, or the edge of the letters, to the edge of the wrench there. So for this part, it gets kind of tricky. I just kind of press it down as flat as I can on these where it's uneven. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do the R on the bottom. And I actually had a hard time. I think the hardest part about doing this sign the first time I did it was figuring out which kind of order I was going to do for the letters. I looked up a bunch of different ways or different kind of cross designs to figure out what was best, and this was just what I found was easiest for me to read. You could do it around in a circle, but I just kind of found this X shape worked well for me.
A lot of people say they'd put love.
Love is a good one. I really like that.
A lot of people said they use the directions like north, south,
yeah,
east, west.
I've seen that too, like a compass. That would be fun too. Yeah, keep letting me know what would you guys put on your sign. So it has to be a 4-letter word. And it has to be clean too. There's a lot of 4-letter words out there.
Yeah, you got like home,
that's
pray.
Good. Yeah.
A lot of good ideas.
The M is a little big here. That's the hardest letter to get off here in one piece. All right, and the wrench here, just if any of you guys are wondering, is not nailed down yet. It's just setting on top, and we're gonna move it while we paint. And we're gonna attach it later. So, oh my goodness, it's got all twisted up. Okay, there we go. Here's my M, and then we can get to, and I'm going to show you guys a way, before we get painting here, I'm going to show you a quick way to seal the stencil down so that you're not going to have the bleeding. So by bleeding, I mean the paint going under the stencil. I'm going to just show you a quick way. I actually learned it from someone on Hometalk, one of you awesome people that commented. And it's totally changed the way that I make signs, so I love to pass this little trick on. And if you've seen one of my other Hometalk videos, you may have already seen this trick. So, okay, last little piece here.
You got a lot of wine. People would put wine for some reason.
Oh, that's a good idea for like a little wine area in your kitchen, maybe, if you have like a little wine bar. That would be cute. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. We'll go back to that later. And I'm going to seal these letters down before we paint on them. And the way I do this is with Mod Podge. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen this trick. Maybe you've seen another video with this. But all we do, and this is in here pretty good. There we go. So all I do, this is matte Mod Podge. So you definitely want to buy the matte, not the glossy, just because you'll be able to kind of see the glossy a little more under the paint. And all I do, I put it on my finger. If you guys don't want to get dirty, you could use just like a foam paintbrush. But all we're going to do is kind of just gently go over the letters. And you're going to see it's dirty because the wood is pretty dirty because it's reclaimed wood. So you're going to kind of see a little bit of dirt here as we get it wet. But I just kind of do a light coat over the letters, and this is just going to seal around on the edges so that no paint is going to get under the letters, because we're actually going to be painting over the whole thing. And just the letters that are stencils here are going to be the only thing that's this gray color when we're done.
You've actually got a lot of people that would have put the R where the M is, like I thought.
Yeah, like this? Yeah, I don't know. I looked up a bunch of different, everybody was doing it differently. So I just kind of chose the one that I liked the best. But yeah, you could totally do it however you guys would want.
Yeah.
I just found that this one was, when I was looking at a bunch of designs, this one for me was the easiest to read quickly. But I think it's a personal thing. So yeah, whatever you guys want. So I'd love to know if anybody already knows this Mod Podge trick or if this is something new for you. Let me know in the comments if you guys have seen this or not, and if this will help you out in anything that you guys make. Maybe you guys have been dealing with some issues with stencils bleeding. I know it was really frustrating for me. I was making signs and just always dealing with bleeding underneath the stencils with the paint. Here, and then we can get to painting. Any guesses on what color you guys think I'm going to paint this? I don't think you've seen my paint. It's over there in the corner, so.
No guesses yet.
No guesses. Okay, well, let me know. We've got a couple more minutes here before I get the paint out. So let me know what you guys think I'm going to do.
Yeah, there's just a fun debate of farm or fammer. So, sorry. It's making me laugh.
That's funny.
But no, have you ever used contact spray to get the vinyl down better so you don't have to Mod Podge?
I haven't. Worth a try though. I haven't tried that. Has anybody else tried that with the contact paper? The contact paper, it sticks pretty well, but I was just finding it bleeding.
Contact spray. Like spray the vinyl on the back of the...
Spray it, yeah. I mean, yeah. I haven't tried that, no. It's worth a shot. Okay, almost done here. Okie doke. Alright, so the Mod Podge dries pretty quickly. There's one little spot here where it goes uneven that I'm just going to have to be careful on. So we can go ahead and start. We'll start painting on the edges and then get to the letters in a minute. Give them a chance to dry here.
A lot of people would have put tires since it's a tire iron.
Oh, that could work.
It'd be the very decorative mechanic shop.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So, did we get any guesses on the paint color?
Yeah, white.
White, okay.
Our secret's out, so
yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. If we're making a farmhouse style sign, white's probably the best bet. Usually it's neutral kind of colors. So, what I'm going to be using to paint it is I'm just going to use this brush here. This is like a 2-inch brush, and as you can see, it's really old. That's kind of the look I'm going for because I want it to, kind of look rough and rustic. Okay, so the paint I'm using, I'll set it right here. It's just a folk art acrylic craft paint, and that's just a white. It's just like a plant. I don't even know. It's just their plain white color. So
give a rundown for the people just joining while you're painting too.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, so if you're just joining, we are making a farmhouse style sign today. And what we started with is we made this base of the sign out of pallet wood. So we cut up the pallet wood. We just cut our pallet in half. So it's 19 and a half inches wide, our sign dimensions, and we put 3 planks together, and we just put some boards on the back and nailed them in to secure the sign. So I'll turn it around here in a minute and show you what I mean. So then after that, I had already made the stencil, but I explained that we made the stencil using our Silhouette Cameo, which is a cutter machine that you can hook up to your computer and design your own stencils. So I really love it for making signs. And so we put our letters on, and we're actually doing kind of the opposite effect where I put the letters down and we're going to paint over them. So then we sealed the letters with Mod Podge. And as you can see here, I'm just going to be a little more careful as we go around the letters. So our stencils are sealed down with Mod Podge just to prevent paint from going underneath the stencil. And I am painting this. I'm just using a really old, this is a chipboard brush, or a chip brush, and using Folk Art, just regular acrylic craft paint. It's pretty inexpensive paint. So I love using this for craft projects. Okay.
Do you clean or wash or prep the wood before you start painting it?
So what I did is I used 100 grit sandpaper. I just gave it a really, really light sand, and it wasn't necessarily to sand the wood. It was more to get kind of the loose wood pieces off, or any splinters that were kind of sticking out, or if there was any dirt marks. So I very lightly sanded it. Okay, we're just gonna keep going here. And I'm kind of roughly painting this, as you can see. I may go back and do more later. This is just a really old paintbrush I'm using, so it kind of gives it a rustic effect here. And I'm kind of doing a dry brush technique, where you just get a little bit of paint on the brush, you kind of dry it off on your, I'm just using a piece of cardboard here, and just kind of really lightly doing the paint. So you can see kind of the undertones of the wood popping through in the back.
Have you ever used chalk paint to make this sign?
Not this one, but yes, I've used chalk paint a lot in the past. So if I'm doing something where I'm going to be covering the wood entirely, or it's like furniture or something like that, I definitely would go with the chalk paint.
Excuse me.
When it's something like this, the paint, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter a whole lot. I'm barely putting it on here. So I choose to just use a more inexpensive paint, and this I can buy for just like a couple bucks. So that's why I use the acrylic craft paint more so on my signs than chalk paint. But I love chalk paint for certain projects. And yeah, if you have chalk paint, you could totally use it for this. There's no reason why you couldn't. And you can actually make your own chalk paint too. I wonder, has anybody ever done that? Yeah, maybe let us know in the comments. I've tried it one time. It was super fun. It worked pretty good. But I just did it the one time.
A lot of people are asking if the ripples effect in the wood is natural.
I'm not too sure. Do you know? I think it's just the way that they plane the wood, right?
No, this pallet wood is probably cut with a bandsaw.
Okay.
And because it sat outside for a couple of years, it probably dried out, and they're showing up more.
So that's what I kind of like about using reclaimed wood. I love the texture that you can get, and especially when you use this dry brush. It just kind of accentuates that even more, which that's why I like this look on pallet wood better than like new wood that you would buy at the store. Because when you'd paint like a dry brush on new wood, you don't get this kind of texture that you see. And one question that I will just answer, because I do get it a lot every time I use pallet wood on a Hometalk video, is where to find pallets. So I get that question a lot just because I do work with pallet wood a lot. So I think the best advice, the way we've found most of the pallets that we work with, we actually just keep an eye on like Craigslist and Facebook groups, like local Facebook groups. And a lot of people are usually getting rid of them for free. Sometimes it'll be a business, but we look out for postings of just people that have a ton. And if it's worth our time and they're enough and they look like they're in good shape, then we'll just go pick them up. And we try to get big groups of them together. So we have a lot in our backyard or garage at one time. But another place you can keep an eye out for is like grocery stores. But never take them without asking, of course. So if you see some in their back or on the side of the grocery store, you could go in and ask the manager if you can take them. And a lot of times they'll let you take them.
What are the stencils made out of for our latecomers?
Yeah, so we made the stencils out of adhesive shelf liner, and I get mine at the Dollar Tree. So it's really inexpensive. And I've actually had this roll for like 2 years. So it lasts a long time. I need to go get some more. But it lasts a long time. It's a pretty big roll, so you can make quite a bit of stencils out of it, and it's works great, especially with this Mod Podge technique of sealing the stencil.
And the machine you use is?
The Silhouette Cameo is my machine. The Cricut is another one, and they are very, very similar. I do get a lot of questions about the differences between the two. I haven't personally worked with a Cricut in years. I used to have one long, long ago, so I can't really speak to the details, but I do know they're very similar. The software interface is a little different, so it kind of comes down to preference between the two, but they pretty much do the same thing. All right, so the good thing about the painting with this, with the dry brush, is it's really thin, so we're pretty much dry. So we don't need to wait on drying time, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave the letters for now. I'm gonna give them, they're just a little wet. I'm gonna give them a couple minutes while we put on our wrench, which I, of course, covered up my middle. I can actually see it right there. So there's my little middle X that I had with pencil. So I'm just gonna put my lug wrench back on here, and we are gonna be using finish nails. And we tried this a few different ways. Where's the hammer? There it is. And we kind of just determined this was, you probably could attach this a number of different ways, but this is just the one that kind of works the best for us. I'm just going to be using a hammer and nails here on each 4 of these little corners. I'm going to get it kind of angled right here.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Okay, do one on the top and bottom.
A lot of people are asking if you'd seal this after you were done.
Okay, yes, I'm going to answer that in just a couple minutes here. So I will show you what to seal it with. It's like a spray sealer, so you could do it before you put the wrench on, but it's totally okay if the wrench gets a little sealant on it. It's not going to hurt. Okay, I'm kind of angling the nails just kind of with the groove in the corner here. So that's why they're kind of crooked, but they're just kind of... I want to get this one in good. Okay. I sure hope that holds. That would be embarrassing if I lifted it up and it fell, right? Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm just going to gently peel back our letters here. We gave them a couple more minutes to dry. So there's our A. And there is a little, yeah, there is a little tool here. I didn't get it out. There's a tool that comes with the Cameo that kind of makes this a little easier for picking the letters up. It's a little picker-upper tool. Okie doke. So I'm going to also show you, so like I mentioned in the beginning, so there's another way to use the opposite side of the stencil, so you wouldn't paint the whole thing. So I'm going to show you. So we made 2 signs out of 1 stencil. So we used the letters on this, and then on my other sign I used the outside part of the stencil. So I'm just going to show you this. I'll flip it around right. So we started with pallet wood, so that's what this is, and we put the lug wrench in here. You saw that with a hammer and nails. We made the stencil using the Silhouette Cameo, an adhesive shelf liner from the Dollar Tree. We sealed the stencil down with matte Mod Podge, so that's what sealed the sign, so we got nice crisp lines on our stencil, and then we just used white acrylic craft paint over the whole thing. And I'm just going to show you the other sign. It's a totally different look, but as you can see, so what we did on this one is we just used the outside of the letters. We put those down and then we painted the middle. So this is just a different look, but you can make 2 signs out of 1 stencil. So I think that's all we have time for today, but the sealing. So this is what I use to seal the signs. So it's made by Krylon. It's just a clear finish. This is the matte version. There's also a glossy version if you like that. And it's about $8 at the craft stores where you would get that. So if you guys have any other questions about the Silhouette Cameo or any part of this process and we didn't get to them today, be sure to just pop them in the comments below. And I will get through the comments either tonight or maybe tomorrow night and just try to answer everything you guys have. So I had a lot of fun hanging out with you today. Once we're done with the video, there's going to be a button for you to subscribe. So be sure you do that so you get notified every time that Hometalk goes live. My name is Chelsea, and I blog at makingmanzanita.com, and I hope you guys have a great day.